So hi, welcome to week 2 of 30 Days of Sight Reading. If you are not familiar with sight reading, it is a musician's ability to read or perform music at first sight. It's a skill that we all need and a skill that a lot of us really kind of don't love doing so much. A lot of us find it really stressful, but sight reading is actually really important for us, and it's a big component of a lot of auditions for musicians. And most of us, it's our least favorite part of the audition. So it's a really important skill for us, but it's kind of stressful and we have like a weird relationship with it a lot of the time. So hi, welcome to Making a Musician. It's me, your host Helen, and like I said before, this is week 2 of 30 Days of Sight Reading. Alright, so I'm doing this challenge because number one, 30 Days of Scales really burned me out. If you haven't seen that series on my channel, you can go look at that, but basically I did 30 days of scales and I went way too hard and I completely burned myself out, so I wanted to do another 30-day piano challenge, but I knew that it needed to be something a little bit more laid back, a little bit more low-key. So the rules for this challenge were really simple. They were just like sit down every day and sight read something. And you know, with 30 days of scales, I was spending like literally often like 2 hours on scales every day. And this challenge is like 10 minutes, or you know, at the minimum it's like 10 minutes, and the other one was like at the minimum 2 hours, which was terrible. So 30 Days of Sight Reading is much more chill, it's much more laid back, which I'm very grateful for. 2 is I just want to be able to sit down and read anything that's put in front of me, and I know like I'm clearly not at the piano stage yet where that's even like a remote possibility, but I think that sight reading is a skill that even a lot of pianists don't love. It's weird, as an opera singer I work mostly with collaborative pianists, and a big part of their training is sight reading because that's just a very common skill that they need, especially if they're gonna play auditions or things like that. And versus with like concert pianists or like just like pianists who are not geared towards collaborative piano, they don't have to be the best sight readers. A lot of them are really good, but it's not necessarily something that's always stressed for them, or at least that's how it seems to me. And so they talk about being really frustrated that like they don't sight read better, and I would like to be a really good sight reader, you know, when I grow up. So I'm doing this challenge. And then number 3, sight reading is really actually kind of turned out to be very fun for me. It kind of feels like a game and I really enjoy doing it, and I'm trying to just get myself to spend more time at the piano. So it felt like a natural way to go. So you might be like, wow, 30 days of sight reading, but spread out over how many days? Because week 1 of this challenge was like about a month ago, and that's because I was in Mexico. And I thought I would have a lot more time and piano access than I did, so I was in Mexico singing Queen of the Night, and I expected to have daily piano access, and technically I did have access to the pianos, but they were like a very far walk away, and I was pretty busy during the day. I had less downtime than I thought I would, so it just didn't end up happening. I think I only sat down and played piano one time while I was in Mexico, so needless to say, daily sight reading did not really happen. Okay, but here's the crazy part about that, because when I got back and I sat down and I started sight reading through things like the morning after my plane landed, I really felt like my sight reading level was at least at where it was when I left, but actually I feel like I've gotten better at sight reading since coming back, which is really strange to me because I totally expected to be a lot worse. Like most skills, you know, if you don't use them, they're gonna decay, and I totally expected that that's what would happen with my sight reading, and I was kind of like, oh well, this is gonna suck, like we're starting over at square one. But no, it seems like really I just kind of managed to, I don't know, sit down and read through things about the same, but if not better than I was before I left. So, questions about the challenge. So do I feel like this is helping my sight singing? So, you know, I'm a singer, sight reading is very important for us, and that's a skill I'm working on. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm a full-time musician, and a big part of that is that I sing. That's like my main thing that I do, that's my primary instrument. And I do feel that the more I play piano, the better I get at sight singing, but it's not necessarily just like the more I sight read at piano, the better I get at sight singing. It's like the more I am at the keyboard in general, the stronger my sight singing seems to get. And I think that, you know, sitting down and sight reading is getting me to spend more time at the piano, so that's great. That means my sight reading is getting better. I will say I've gotten a lot better at reading ahead, which has been very beneficial for my singing. It's tricky, it's like a weird skill to develop. It's definitely easier for me on piano than sight singing. I don't know why. So that's been good. Next question, are my piano chops getting better? And the really easy answer is I have no idea. So I'm not really working on repertoire right now because after I got back from Mexico, which was about a week ago, I just felt like I was really close to burnout. I was really exhausted. I just felt like I wasn't feeling my best and like I wasn't doing my best. And so I knew that I needed to just kind of like slow down so I didn't burn out. And so that meant I just kind of did the bare minimum in all arenas of my life, including piano. So I didn't work on any repertoire. I really just focused on sight reading, which seemed really nice. Now, I'm gonna be starting piano lessons in a week or two, you know, in the next week or so, not entirely sure when. And so obviously at that point I'll get some repertoire. So I have a very large virtual library of things that I think would be really great for me. So me and my teacher are gonna sit down and pick out what's good. So I will be starting with repertoire very soon, but not right now. I'm a little tired. She's a little tired, still recovering from Mexico. Next question, am I still playing scales? I am not. I totally forgot about scales. Like I said, was close to burning out and just wasn't really feeling great. So I didn't do scales. You know, I think that that's definitely gonna be something that's probably stressed in my piano lessons. So I'll just do whatever my piano teacher tells me to do every day for scales. And that will become the new scale routine. My ideal piano practice routine that I was like hoping to build with this would be 10 minutes of scales and then sit down and sight read something. It is yet to be seen. Yet to be seen if that's gonna happen. But it would be nice. Yeah, and then am I enjoying the challenge still? Yes, which is great because by this point of 30 days of scales, I was like kind of just forcing myself to keep going, like I had lost the will to continue. Because I think week 3 in that challenge was the one where I was really like, oh my god, this is horrible, why am I doing this? I hate everything, I hate music. And then week 4, I was like, this is ridiculous, I'm just gonna sit down and play 10 minutes of scales and I'm not allowed to do it anymore. So, but this one I'm still having a good time. Like yesterday I sat down and I just like looked up a free PDF of like a bunch of Patsy Cline music and like sat and read through it and it was really fun. And I think that that is a key for me, is things being fun, and I think that that is a key that I really need to lean into going forward in the challenges. So if I can have fun while I'm doing something and make it like really entertaining for myself, it's very easy for me to be consistent with it, and that, we need to remember that. Helen, are you listening? Please, please focus on having fun, because this is like, I can sit down, I think I sat down yesterday, I'm not even kidding. I think I sat down for almost an hour and I just totally lost track of time and I was having a great time versus it felt like with 30 days of scales, I was counting every second. I was like, you know that feeling where you're like, what do you mean it's only been 3 minutes? Like that was me with 30 days of scales versus this, I'm having the time of my life and yeah, it's just really nice. So I think one of the things that I did that was like the smartest thing that I did about this challenge is how flexible I made it. So 30 days of scales was very rigid. We're doing every scale this many times. We're doing 1 octave, 2 octave, 1 octave arpeggio, 2 octave arpeggio, and then like a bunch of other little variations of every scale in every key, and it was taking forever. And it was terrible. So this one's really great because it's just like, yeah man, sit down, sight read something, have a good time, and you're good to go. And that seems like a better and more sustainable way to go because I can really easily commit to just like sitting down and playing something. And most days that leads to me doing other things, finding more music, being like, oh, I really enjoyed sight reading that. What's next in the book? Oh, let's see what Bach has. Oh, does Beethoven have some fun little sonatinas that I can look through? What about the Clementi sonatinas? Like, and I just like go through a bunch of things and I have a really good time. But you know, some days I'm tired, or some days I feel like I'm gonna burn out, or some days I'm really, really busy and I just don't have a ton of time to sit down and sight read. And this challenge is really great on those days. So yeah, note to me going forward, make all of your challenges very flexible, especially when you're going through busy times in your life. Please. I'm just having a great time with this challenge. I'm generally finding a lot of music that's, you know, really fun to play, and I'm having a really nice time. And I do not doubt that this is going to help make me a much better pianist going forward. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Week 3 of 30 days of sight reading is coming in about a week. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. That's it for me. Bye.